Hello, it is Friday, September 9th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a surreal time in the UK at the moment with the sad passing of Queen Elizabeth II and the accession of King Charles III, which is a strange thing to say, but today we're solving a crossword puzzle, so we have a good solid 30 to 45 minutes of linguistic escapism. So join me for that, and it will be a themeless puzzle, and also a strange-looking puzzle as well. Speaking of things being surreal, I don't know what's going on with the seemingly enormous quantity of black cells in the grid, so we'll have to see. In any case, this surreal edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Gabor, Lewis Williams, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, the invaluable Timothy Mark, and the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous contribution. And if you'd like to join them as a benefactor and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can, of course, find that at patreon.com/dailysolve, where you can also become a patron at any tier whatsoever, and therefore get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as the new ones that go up each week, such as my most recent solve of 2 more Boss Words competition puzzles that I put up yesterday. That was a fun solve. I solve those much more at a pace that I do when I'm solving crosswords on my own, which doesn't really happen anymore because of this channel. At least not this style of crossword. I still talk through it as I'm playing, so it's not quite the same. But if you're interested in seeing me solve crosswords a bit more at my typical pace, you can see those up on the Patreon campaign. In any case, thank you to everybody who has been a patron at any level. I do very much appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel. Do subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. We're almost at 10,000. We're under 100 away. And you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server via the link in the description field underneath the video if you're interested in becoming part of that community. So now let's get on to today's puzzle, the Friday crossword, constructed by Brandon Copy, who's done, I think, around 10 puzzles, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving, and I'm very curious. Oh, it's Tetris. Oh, wow, look at this. This is remarkable. So this would be a fairly chaotic moment in a game of Tetris if this were actually happening, as depicted in the grid. So Tetris is the sort of falling blocks game in which you have to maneuver tetrominoes, these tiles of these pieces constructed of 4 squares each, such that you create complete horizontal lines at the bottom of the play area. And here we can see we have the extremely versatile I tetromino, I think this one's called, that's going to slot into this space down here and create, I think what is called a Tetris, what is known as a Tetris, which is a simultaneous creation of 4 lines. And the only way to do that is with this long piece fitting into a precisely shaped gap. All right, so there we go. The reason I said this would be a chaotic game of Tetris if you were playing it is because there appear to be 10 shapes all falling simultaneously, which would have 9, I suppose the square has already been placed. So anyway, that would mean you'd be playing at an extremely high level if this many pieces were all raining down at one time. Anyway, let's get on with it and see what is in store for us. Certainly an unusual grid. Troubles, not sure. Got on board in a way. Agreed, or something like that. Out of nothing in creation myths. Ex nihilo? Out of nothing? I'm not sure if that, when it says in creation myths, does that mean the language is used in creation myths, or it's just as described in creation myths? I'm not sure, but anyway, a snit. If you're in a snit, you're in a bit of a mood, maybe a bit of a pet. You can use that as well. Suffix for many install files. Well, on Windows computers, an executable file ends with the suffix .exe. Modern vaccine material, as we've all heard a great bit about in recent years, RNA. Blank and Eric, awesome show, great job. Comedy sketch series. This is the full name, I suppose, of the Tim and Eric show. Sort of absurdist comedy, I guess you'd call it. Classic role for Nichelle Nichols and Zoe Saldana. The character Uhura from Star Trek. I think this is the name, Uhura, I believe. We'll check the crosses as we go, but I believe that's the case. Quite stinky. If something is ripe, maybe. I mean, you could say rank, but ex nihilo looks like it's correct. So let's try ripe and look at the crosses now. Oh, if something troubles you, it perturbs you. So there we go. That worked out. And to tackle something together, you team up on it, you team up at it, you team up. Neither of those sounds particularly good. Dreams. Oh, oops, I was looking at the wrong clue. Highly successful film, or an apt description of a 59 down player. Oh, 59 down is going to be the name of the game, Tetris, after all of that. Okay, so the hugely successful film is a blockbuster, which is what you could call a Tetris player. And there we go. The best-selling video game celebrated in this grid is, of course, Tetris, which was designed by Alexei Pajitnov, I believe. I hope I'm getting the name correct. I believe I am. And so let's see what else is being pointed out. Well, look at this incredibly long down. Trick of being suddenly nowhere to be found, or an apt description of victory for a Tetris player. An apt description of clearing the board or something? Clearing the trick of being suddenly nowhere to be found. Clearing the air, I'm not sure. It may not be this, but let's look at some crosses. Custom computer, custom built for playing games in slang. Maybe clearing the is wrong. It could be rig, maybe. People sometimes refer to a gaming rig. Let's look at this. Faust playwright. Goethe, German poet and playwright. So French, perhaps, in England. Oh, so this is referring to a French kiss. So this is a sort of clever, usage of language for misdirection, because French here doesn't mean the nationality. It's referring to a French kiss. And kissing in England can be referred to as snogging in British English. So there we go. A snog. It could be a French in England, which is a strange way to say it. But that was the point. It is Friday. It is our themeless. Oh, it just occurred to me. This is a themeless puzzle, but we clearly have a theme. Interesting. So I suppose, right, it's just I wonder why this isn't on Thursday. Maybe the difficulty was considered too high for a Thursday. I don't know. Interesting. I'm surprised I didn't observe that earlier. So if you're not familiar with that convention, typically Friday and Saturday puzzles in the New York Times, almost always, they are the two themeless puzzles for the week, which means they're just straight solving, no thematic material tying the puzzle together. But that's clearly not true here. From the very first second you lay eyes on the grid, you can see that there's something thematic going on. Anyway, actress Judy of Arrested Development. I'm not sure. I've seen Arrested Development, but I don't remember who that is. Maybe I will when I get some crosses. Golden blank. Golden ager. Someone of a certain age. I'm not confident about that, but let's keep going. One of three things traditionally eaten to break a Ramadan feast. Oh, interesting. I'll be curious about that. One of two 1978 Nobel Peace Prize winners. Is it Anwar Sadat, and is this a date? Traditionally eaten to break Ramadan fast? That would seem appropriate. So that sort of suspect that's correct. Let's check some crosses to see how I'm doing here. Fyodor the Blessed, e.g. That I suspect is a czar, former Russian ruler. Big name in multi-level marketing. And upright. So upright could be physically standing erect, or it could be morally upright. I'm not sure which. Let's look around. mozzarella sticks, and queso, e.g. Oh, appetizers, I suppose? That must be what that is. Let's look at this again. Trick of being suddenly nowhere to be found. Disappearing act. There we go. So it is almost a trick in that sense. You're performing a trick. You're performing a disappearing act, and there we go. You could say that would be victory for the Tetris player because you've made the blocks disappear. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Big level in, Amway, American Way. Is it American Way or is it just Amway? Does it stand for something else? I'm not sure. I guess it's probably still around. Sells household goods and things, I think. Door to door is one of those things where you sign people up and then they sell things and then they sign people up, and it's, some people charge these are Ponzi schemes and some people claim they're not. Anyway, sacred syllables, ohms, maybe the sort of mantra chant sort of syllable. Okay, so upright, it is in a moral sense here. An upright person is an honest person. And the sacred disease to ancient Greeks. Epilepsy? Yeah, I think epilepsy had connotations with, the divine in some sense. And I think more than one ancient society. Okay, and here we have blank you, PU, you might say. That's awfully ripe, isn't it? Wasn't that on the crossword just now? Yes, here it was. Okay, like osmium among all the elements. Interesting. I'll be curious to see what that is. What about this? Got on board in a way. Right, we saw this and I didn't know. Spanish monarch beginning in 2014. Felipe, I think. Let's check the crosses on that to be sure. Busy business around Mother's Day. A florist probably. FTD is a US-based florist, I think. So let's, FTD, that sounds right. Let's check the crosses. Sinks from not far away. Sinks a golf ball maybe? Taps in? And direct, direct could be an adjective, but it could also be a verb. And I think in this case it's a verb and it means to lead, to direct operations, to lead operations. Mont Blanc, par exemple. I see. Par exemple. So it's the for example, the par exemple this is actually in French. You can see there's an E rather than an A here. And par exemple meaning for example in French. And so the French spelling of the mountain, so it is an Alp, one of the Alps, but we're going to spell it in the French manner with an E at the end. And that happens in the crossword when you have a clue written in another language. It usually means the answer will also be written in that language. Usually the language involved is not particularly advanced. I mean, even if you've never spent a minute learning French, you could probably infer this means for example. Okay, got on board in a way. Laden, as in you've laden cargo, for instance, on a ship or a plane or something. Is that what that is? Got on board. Maybe it's laded. Maybe laded rather than laden. And then, like osmium among all the elements would be the densest, I suppose. Interesting. Kind of curious about that. I'll have to look it up. Dreams for aspiring bands are record deals. That's straightforward enough. Picture of health. And here we have tackle together, team up on. Okay, you'll team up on a task. That sounds better than it did to me when I was thinking about it before for some reason. Picture of health. A sonogram, maybe? A literal picture? So the question mark here is indicating punnery or wordplay. So usually when we see the phrase picture of health, we think of the idiomatic meaning referring to a person who is in ideal form, they're in fine fettle. But here we're treating it in a punny way, and so we're taking picture more literally to mean an actual image, in this case, a sonogram. Organization that Moscow Center represents in George Smiley novels. So this is referring to the work of John le Carré, the late, great espionage writer, truly, truly great author. And Moscow Center represents the KGB, it represents Russian intelligence, as the circus represents British intelligence in his novels. Okay, 1 of 2,297 for Hank Aaron. RBI, one of the few baseball statistics that's been drilled into my head thanks to the crossword. I suspect it's that anyway. Oh, this is funny. George Smiley for one. So George Smiley is, of course, as indicated in the clue just above this one, the protagonist of a number of John le Carré novels. And anyway, he's a Brit. He's a member of British special intelligence. And then, could be That's Gross, maybe? And here we have It's Just Under One's Nose, informally, a stash, which was formerly present just under my nose. I saw someone ask in the comments the other day, why do the thumbnails for these videos show a mustachioed person, and yet the videos do not? It's just because I took all those photographs several months ago when I still had my mustache, and I just don't really feel like retaking all the photos, to be honest, so I'm not going to. That's the reason. Irish blank, Irish setter, a breed of dog, and then Judy Greer of Arrested Development, okay? I mean, the name sounds familiar, but to be honest with you, I'm not sure which character Judy Greer played in Arrested Development. Yeah, that's too bad, but anyway, I'm going to move on. Okay, mirror and prism system in brief. An SLR, a single lens reflex camera? Maybe? I don't know if that's right. Let's keep looking. Poker table giveaway. A chip or something? What about this? Nicholas, who directed Don't Look Now. Oh, this is a great film, Don't Look Now, directed by Nicholas Roeg. Highly recommended. It's a very interesting, almost sort of contemplative film. I mean, it's very watchable. It's not boring, but it's just a very, it's a very introspective movie. I think it's really great. Okay, if something is meh, it's so-so. Okay, so poker table giveaway is not a chip. What is it? Oh, a deal maybe? But no, it doesn't really seem like a giveaway. What about this? Experiments with Zener cards or Zener cards. This came up in the crossword, I think, this week, maybe even 2 days ago. They're ESP tests. These cards are used to try and determine the validity of someone claiming to possess extrasensory perception. And so the idea would be that they would be able to tell you what's on a particular card you've chosen without them seeing it themselves physically. Okay, coloring, tint maybe? And NFL QB Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. It sounds like Pacific Islander name. I mean, it looks like it matches the surname, but unsurprisingly, I've not heard of this NFL quarterback. Had in mind, if you had something in mind, don't know. Why can't I see that? It's very frustrating. Unit in Mario Kart games. Unit in Mario Kart games. I'm not sure what that's getting at. So Mario Kart is sort of party games where you pilot a little go-kart around a track in competition with other players. But what would a unit in them be? I'm not really sure what that's asking for. Sorry. Okay, many-headed monster. A hydra, perhaps? And a load could be a haul. Bygone car named for its country of origin. Interesting. Bygone car named for its country of origin. I'm not sure. Let's keep looking. Prefix with zone or pop. Afro? I mean, Afro pop is certainly a thing. Afrozone? Doesn't really sound right. Oh, well, there's also Alcopop. I can think of all the pop ones and not the zone ones. I don't know. Utterly amazed. Maybe hall is incorrect. Maybe that's throwing me off. What about this? Don't be a stranger, or an app request from a 59 down player, from a Tetris player. Don't be a stranger, or drop me a line? Is that what it is? Yeah, there we go. I think this must be referring to the I tetromino here as a line, which I think is probably also a very common way to refer to it because, of course, it is literally a line. Or a line segment, I guess, if you want to get incredibly geometrically pedantic about it. And very good. All right, so I think we finished off the theme on our ostensibly themeless Friday puzzle. Oh, if you had something in mind, you meant it. I see. There we go. I get it now. Unit in Mario Kart games. Oh, a lap. I see. It's okay. I was trying to imagine maybe this is something, some lingo specific to the games, but no, it's not. It just means a lap around the track. That's all. Anti-establishment cause could be populism, politically speaking. And then load. Oh, a heap. Maybe a big heap, big load. Oh, Yugo, perhaps. Is that what this is? That is a car, I think. Yugo, sort of a famously. I don't know. Was it famously defective or something? It frequently broke down. I'm not 100% sure. So named for Yugoslavia, presumably. And then prefix was zone. Oh, the Eurozone or Europop. That was my first guess when I saw this, Eurozone or Europop, because that makes sense. The Eurozone being the sort of collectively the countries that have adopted the euro currency, and then Europop, obviously European pop music. And then, but because I had load incorrect, I threw myself off the scent. Anyway, that happens a lot, so watch out for that sort of thing. Setting traps for yourself. Badlands, rogue states, maybe. That's a fun match of clue and answer. I really like that. Badlands, rogue states. It's very concise, very clever. We have the little question mark indicator to indicate a bit of a pun going on. Conflict of no consequence. A spat, maybe? Just a kind of small argument. Well, I'm not sure if that's correct. Let's actually check the crosses on the S&P 500. Stories that may take a while. Sagas, maybe? They're very long. And distinctive peacock feature. It's... what do you call that thing on a peacock? Oh, I don't know. I can't think of it. What about this? One also known as ramen. Is it Allah? Does that help here? Distinctive peacock feature? Don't know. What about this? It can be shredded with an axe, a guitar solo. So an axe often used to refer to a guitar in rock music, or in jazz, I think maybe a saxophone just as frequently. I mean, I think that terminology derives from jazz, but when adapted to rock and roll, almost entirely refers to guitars. I think exclusively in rock. Okay, poker table giveaway. Oh, a tell. Ah, very clever. So your giveaway, your kind of physical tick that allows other players to infer some element of your state of mind. So the mirror and prism system in brief was the SLR. So that guess was correct. Oh, the plume, a peacock's plume, of course, there we go, is its distinctive feature, and ironic sounding plot device in Total Recall. Well, it'll be something dealing with amnesia. Oh, I see. It is literally amnesia used as a plot device in the film Total Recall, which I think is based on a Philip K. Dick short story with an absolutely incredible title, in the way that many Philip K. Dick titles are incredible. And I think it's We Will Remember It For You Wholesale. It's not surprising that when this was turned into a big budget Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle, they did not retain the title We Will Remember It For You Wholesale. But that is a great title for a short story. Anyway, trunk fastener could be a hasp. To fasten a trunk, a chest of goods. The Rio Grande is a river in Texas, I suppose. And then iconic phrase in old Dick and Jane stories, right? So these are the children's books about Dick and Jane and their dog Spot and See Spot Run and all of that. So See Spot. And then if you took a load off, you sat down. You sat. There we go. What an incredibly outrageous puzzle. I can't believe we encountered this on a Friday. I don't necessarily think this was so difficult that it couldn't have been run on a Thursday. I'm very curious what the rationale was for releasing this on a Friday. It's very interesting. I wonder if there's some kind of anniversary or something of Tetris or Alexei Pajitnov, or I don't know. No idea. That's very interesting. I'm curious what's going on here. But it was a fun puzzle. It was a great puzzle. I mean, it was a very clever concept. We broke our grid symmetry for good reason here to represent the various tetrominoes in the grid. I wonder if this is at all an accurate aspect ratio matching that of a real Tetris sort of play area in the game. I don't know. It looks roughly the same. Maybe would be a little bit taller though. Anyway, what a fun puzzle. Nice one by Brandon Copy. And some really good clues in there. Just good puzzle overall. Enjoyed it. Hope you did as well. Let me know how you fared with this one. I suppose you do have to literally know what Tetris is, actually. Yeah, that's interesting, because we have 4 unchecked cells here, which means there aren't any crosses available. So if you didn't know this were called Tetris, it would be impossible for you to finish this grid, which is actually extremely unusual for the New York Times crossword. That's much more common in British cryptic crosswords, where many of the cells in the grid frequently are unchecked. Not 4 in a row like this. Generally, that would be, I think, completely outrageous. But certainly more than are typically present in a New York Times crossword. So this is extremely unusual. I wonder. Let me know if you're someone who was unable to complete this puzzle because you simply didn't know the remainder of this name. It seems like an entirely plausible outcome for somebody. Anyway, I thought that was a very fun puzzle. Now let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle, shall we? I think, in fact, I only actually had one. There might have been more, but I think it was just, well, a couple. So regarding the theme, actually a few people pointed this out. I grabbed the first one I saw, so thank you to everybody else who pointed it out. But Gary Britton pointed out that the 4 corner states referenced in yesterday's theme were in the correct geographical positions in the puzzle grid representing the 4 corner states in the United States. And that was one of those things. I don't know why I didn't point that out. That was a big oversight on my part, because I certainly observed that being the case and just didn't draw attention to it, which was a shame. So thank you to those of you who did. And Mr. EQ, regarding Iron Man, explains Iron Man is indeed a race, which is the way in which it was included in yesterday's puzzle. A triathlon consisting of swimming, bicycling, and running in that order. It's called Iron Man because it is a particularly harsh and grueling event that sees the competitors racing for upwards of 15 to 20 hours. In fact, it starts with an almost 4-kilometer swim, which alone takes a lot of competitors over 2 hours to complete. Imagine coming out of a 2-hour swim and realizing that the entire race will take you another 14 hours if you're lucky enough to make the cutoff. I mean, that's unimaginable to me, to be honest. I mean, it's just beyond comprehension. Seelan then replies and says, yes, my dad competes in many Ironman races. I find it very fitting that the name correlates with that of a superhero because you truly do have to have a super ability to continue on. Yes, I would think so. That's absurd. Anyway, thanks for that explanation. I'll be back tomorrow for the Saturday puzzle, which presumably will truly be a themeless puzzle, unlike this themed interloper into our themeless days. And I hope you join me for that. I hope it's another fun puzzle. I'm sure it will be. Do come back and watch the video. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.